Hey everyone, it's Marla, Twinstrology. This is going to be a video on the Virgo New Moon that's happening on September 9th. Before I get started, I just want to mention if you would like a personal reading with me, you can visit my website, which is twinstrology.com. You can also find me under marlakelly.com. And if you look under the services tab, you'll see subheadings for astrology and tarot, and you can get explanations of the types of readings that I do if you're interested. I also want to mention Twinfinity's Twin Flame Workshop. That's about a month away now. This is going to be October 5th, 6th, 7th, and possibly the 8th if you want to see the Canadian Rockies. This is going to be in Banff, Alberta, Canada, which is outside of Calgary. This is going to be a very special spiritual retreat for twin flames, divine partnerships, sacred unions. And it's being hosted by Rob and Angie at Twinfinity. It's going to be facilitated by Rob and Angie, myself, Dio Veselinoff, Debbie Dubois, and Kelly McKinstry. Now, Kelly is kind of new. She's not new to the twin flame journey, but she's kind of new to the scene. So if you haven't heard of her, you may want to check out her page on Facebook, which is Encompass Yourself. And Kelly is in a same-sex twin flame dynamic. And I know that a lot of you that I connect with have come to me with that experience. So if that's the case, Kelly has some wisdom about this journey that she can probably share with you. So you may want to check her out. Again, that's Encompass Yourself. So let's get back to the new moon. Okay. So as I mentioned, the new moon is on September 9th, 2018. This is going to be a 9-9-11 day. And if we add 9 and 9, that equals 18, which again equals 9. Nines are a number of completion, but when we couple 9 with the number 1, the meaning of that is abundance is flowing to you. You're being guided. Be open to receiving. And it's 1:44 here on the clock as I say that. So, and the message that I'm getting so strongly is it is a time for us to be open and to hear the messages of spirit. We need to be open to receiving. And that is so much of what is taking place in the energy right now. A couple days ago, I wrote an article called Healing the Separation Wound, which was based on some channeling that I received from the goddess Lilith. And in that article, I talked about the need for us to embrace the divine feminine energy right now, whether you're a man or a woman, because it's the divine feminine that is the receiver that carries the energy of unconditional love, and that is healing the separation wound. I'm going to be doing a video after this, new moon video, about all the astrology that's lining up with this energy. And this energy of healing the separation wound has been with us since the spring, definitely since the summer solstice. I know I've been speaking about it. And it's coming in very, very strong right now. We have to heal a wound of separation in order to find union. And this union that I speak of is beyond a 3D relationship with your twin flame or soulmate. This union is about seeing that we're all one, that there is no separation, that there's no separation from each other, from source energy, from our soul. So let's look at the new moon chart. The new moon is happening at 17 degrees of Virgo. And the big aspect of this new moon is that it's opposing Neptune in Pisces. The message that I got earlier today when I was tuning into the energy and what I was going to speak about, I got this message. And the goddess told me, you keep trying to align your external world to make you feel whole, but that will never work. You must heal and align your inner world to create your external world. This is the process of realignment that you are in right now. This is the process that we're all in. And what this new moon is teaching us is that change comes from the spiritual realm and comes down into the 3D realm. I've talked about this before. It's a message that I've gotten again and again. The way to create change in anything is by creating change within. The inner world is we could see it as the higher dimensional world. You know, when we meditate, when we go within, this is where we connect in oneness with all that is. And that is the energy of Neptune and Pisces. But we also have a 3D body, and we're living in a 3D world. This is our solid reality. This is things that are harder to change. So when we want to create change, we can try and push at things in the 3D world, but we might not get very far. If we go within and we access the inner worlds through our higher mind or through our heart, that is where real change comes. So, in order to facilitate the changes that you want, and by these changes I mean creating or manifesting the reality that you desire, you need to become aware of, in tune with, and work with the world of spirit. If we look at these two signs very simply, we have Pisces, which is the boundless world. There's no limitation in Pisces. This is where we go back to source energy, where we merge back into the sea of consciousness. The energy of Virgo, its opposite sign, is more about solid reality. What do I need to do? What do I need to accomplish today? Are some of the things that we experience in Virgo. The motto of Virgo is I analyze. Virgo discerns information. Virgo categorizes information. And I'm seeing like Virgo puts things in boxes. Pisces dissolves those boundaries of those boxes and brings everything back into this stew. As we look at all the signs of the zodiac, the way, each sign has positive and negative qualities. And the way to work with the more negative qualities is to bring in qualities of its opposing sign. So with Virgo, and believe me, Virgo is not bad. I don't mean to give the impression that Virgo is bad. I have a lot of Virgo energy in my chart. In fact, this new moon is directly on my ascendant. But if we are in the more negative qualities of Virgo, we become very critical, and we become especially critical of ourselves. Because Virgo analyzes things. Virgo is more mind-centered. And we can get stuck in our mind. And we can get stuck trying to analyze every little thing in our world. Especially when we're on the spiritual journey. How many of us get stuck trying to overanalyze everything and trying to block ourselves because the things of the spiritual world surpass any kind of earthly understanding. It surpasses our ability to analyze it or to discern it. Well, we can discern spiritual energy, of course. But we have to move out of some of our mental limitations in order to embrace some of the more spiritual qualities. Self-criticism. Well, being very critical and judgmental, as I mentioned, this is a negative quality of Virgo, and one that Virgo gets limited by a lot. It's kind of Virgo's cross to bear, and when you get those very generalized astrology means that don't really mean much, being critical, judgy, fussy, are all things that are seen in Virgo. But some of that is it has to do with our soul evolution and how we have judged ourselves in the past and needing to let go of those judgments ultimately. And how do we let go of those judgments? We do that through the energy of Pisces, because we recognize that we're all one. So any mistakes that we've all made mistakes. We can forgive with the energy of Pisces and Neptune. This is unconditional love, forgiveness, gentleness, softness. So we bring in the energy of Pisces so we can begin to forgive ourselves for things that we might judge ourselves for. A lot of this has to do with the current energies. There's a lot of past life energy coming up with all the activity on the South Node on an individual basis, but there's also a lot of collective karma being stirred up right now as we try to balance the masculine and feminine. Okay, and so some of this collective karma you might be feeling has self-judgment or blame. And so this new moon is allowing us to bring through this Neptunian energy of unconditional love, and that that love has to extend to ourself, not just other people. And that's one of the ways that we're healing the separation wound. And that was one of the things that came through from Lilith. Even if you were in too much pain to forgive the other person for whatever is limiting you or whatever trauma you've experienced, can you forgive yourself? And that is really the first step. That the thing that we need to do right now is take that first step towards self-forgiveness. So as I was saying, we're having to get more aligned with the higher energies, the unseen energies, those things that are beyond our understanding. But if we're too much in that Virgo energy, we start doubting. You know, as I mentioned, the motto for Virgo is I analyze. The motto for Pisces is I believe. And so it's moving past the need to analyze everything and just believing. But you may find at this time that you struggle a little bit with what is an illusion and what is real, and confusion over the difference. Now, those of you that are on the twin flame journey, this is something that is constantly needing to be battled. Is this real or is it an illusion? And we often wonder, why do we have such hard experiences? Why is it that we get no confirmation in 3D reality from our twin flames? That is to teach you to move past the 3D reality, to overcome that limitation and move into your spiritual self and the knowing that is within your soul. Neptune helps us with that because Neptune dissolves the boundaries. You may think that there's a boundary between you and God. Neptune is there to show you there is no boundary. You may think there's a boundary and a limitation between you and your twin flame. Neptune's there to say there isn't when you come into unconditional love. The only boundaries and limitations are put there by your mind. So this moon is pushing us to free ourselves from doubting, from analyzing. But you know what? It can feel rather yucky at times in the sense of you can have those moments of, oh my God, what am I doing? What have I been doing? Why have I been wasting all this time? Or we suddenly go into fear. Oh my God, none of this is real. Oh my God, am I making all this up? And we have to go back to I believe and trusting in our knowing. This is part of bringing in that divine feminine energy, the high priestess energy that has been coming in since we started healing this wound. The high priestess represents the embodiment of the goddess on earth. The high priestess represents our knowing. Maybe I should say the divine feminine. The divine feminine is our knowing, and that is so much of what is coming in at this full moon. I don't want to get too deeply into this because, as I said, I want to do a whole separate video on what's going on because I think there was some confusion about some of the things that came through in my article, and I want to clarify them. But what I do want people to take away from this Virgo new moon is that this moon is helping us sit in the energies of the divine feminine right now, which means we're getting in touch with the higher realms, with our soul, with our more spiritual side, self. I'm not really sure of the word I want to use there. We're seeing through the veils now. The veil is not there except the veil that you put there yourself. So allow Neptune to help you remove the limitations of that veil. The energy of the high priestess, let me rephrase that. The energy of the divine feminine is being an open channel to spirit. Now, the Sabian symbol for the new moon is two girls playing with a Ouija board. So for those of you who don't know what a Ouija board is, these are boards that have letters, numbers. It might say yes and no on it, and you use this little device, and usually it's used in a group. You all put your hands on this pointer, and usually you hold a seance or something. Forgive me if I say something wrong because I'm not too familiar with Ouija boards myself. I mean, yeah, I know what they are, but I've not really used one a lot because, personally, I don't think they're the best way to get in touch with spirit. But to get back to that, you would maybe have a seance, and the pointer would point to things and it would give you a message. It would spell out a message or tell you yes or no, if it was a yes or no question. It's a way of getting in touch with spirits on the other side, or, getting in touch with dead people. So with that being the Sabian, let's not get into a debate about Ouija boards and whether they're good or bad. But let's just take this Sabian as a sign that this new moon is helping us connect more with our spiritual abilities, with the higher realms. We can communicate with those on the other side. And we certainly don't need a Ouija board to do that. Also, the Sabian symbol for Neptune, which, as I said, is opposing the moon, is in a quiet moment, a creative individual experiences the flow of inspiration. We've talked about this Sabian before. Neptune's been on this Sabian before. Neptune is retrograde. This Sabian also talks about spirit in the sense of inspiration. And what is inspiration but the divine being channeled through us? It talks about a quiet moment, needing to be in meditation and creativity. And it's this inner union or inner balance of the masculine and feminine that is needed right now to open up our manifestation abilities. So, as I mentioned in the article, we're we're needing to embrace the divine feminine energy or the qualities of the divine feminine in the sense of going into the void, going into stillness, not taking action on a lot of things, but going within to get the messages that are needed for us right now, to get in touch with our soul, allowing our soul to guide us. It's here that our intentions are taking form. It's here where the timelines are converging and shifting. But a lot of this energy of the divine feminine, this stillness, this womb-like energy, has been lost in our society. We're needing to relearn a lot of this part of ourself as we switch into becoming creators. So we can use this energy to nicely blend the Virgo Pisces energies. Pisces, the Neptune energy, is empowering us with mysticism and seeing beyond the veil, coming into unconditional love, getting that sense of oneness. But we need the Virgo energy to help us ground that. I'm trying to read my notes. We remember, and then it has the Virgo energy. We use the Pisces so that we forgive ourselves. The Virgo energy of discernment and grounded is needed, because without that, we can get lost in the Pisces energy. We can become ungrounded. We can float away. We cannot be effective. We need to access that part of ourselves to make changes in the 5D world, but we don't want to live in the 5D world. We're still humans. We still have to be in the 3D world. So we need to ground that energy, and this is how we take that unconditional love and we use it for service in the world. We take all those wonderful qualities of Pisces, seeing that we're all one. And then through Virgo, we use it to help others. We also want to get that Pisces energy, and we want to use discernment because we want to be of service in the right way. And this is part of our manifestation process. We want to use our creative abilities for good, for being useful in the world. We don't want to use our creative abilities to be self-serving. This is also where we blend these two energies together. So you can see how balance is needed. We do service through unconditional love. Same way, we need that grounding because it's very hard. We can get in that Pisces energy. But like I said, we need to bring it to earth. And it's easy to float around and not get anything accomplished. And so the Virgo energy helps us take the steps that we need to actually manifest our dreams into reality. You can see Neptune has our dream. But what good is our dream if we can't bring it down to earth? So the energies work together. But we have to change our inner world first. That means changing our consciousness. As within, so without. When we change our consciousness, then the energy can become manifest in the 3D world. It's coming from a higher place then, right? It's not coming from our ego. It's coming from source or our higher self or our soul. So there's a lot of other stuff going on astrologically with Venus, with Mars, with Lilith, but I want to save all that and talk about that in another video. But I think I do want to mention quickly this trine that we have of Pallas Athena in Virgo, trining Saturn, trining Uranus. And Saturn and Uranus been trined for a while. This is helping us, shift out of our limitations and shift into an energy of expansion. And that's why so much healing is needed, because we need to heal the limitations that those traumatic experiences, that those fears have placed on us. And with Pallas Athena here, this is helping us see a lot of those limitations and where we need to make the changes. And Pallas Athena, especially when it's in aspect to Uranus, can be a lot of third eye awakening energies, which is also assisting us with the spiritual wisdom that's coming through to us right now. Saturn just went direct, and it's stationed here at this degree. The message here is, or the Sabian symbol rather, the human soul in its eagerness for new experiences seeks embodiment. Obviously an important Sabian here. And Saturn represents what we're creating, what we're manifesting, what we're building in solid form is the way that I want to say that. Okay, things don't get built without the help of Saturn. And so we know that our soul is seeking more embodiment right now through these energies. This is another message that I've been getting very strongly. So it was a big sync for me actually when I realized that Saturn was on the Sabian symbol. Because we are embodying more of our soul, more of our higher self, so we can let our soul lead the way. And this Sabian also has to do with manifesting. And it's about expansion too. Uranus is on the Sabian symbol. Natural steps up to a lawn blooming with clover. This one too is about seeing the bigger picture, the bigger perspective, where the Sabian talks about steps up. So we know that there's an elevation. It's representing an elevation of consciousness. And a lawn blooming with clover represents fertility. And then we have Pallas which is on the Sabian, 2 guardian angels bringing protection. So all 3 of those Sabians also have a lot to do with connecting to the other side, connecting with the higher realms, expanding our consciousness. The work that Saturn's doing here is really helping us release our limitations, while at the same time grounding that which we're trying to manifest. And this is really so much of this transformation that we're undergoing has, again, we move into becoming creators of our reality. The way that we do that is by breaking free from limitations. Otherwise, what can you create? I did that other video about how many twin flames we have, and a lot of people mistook that. The purpose of that video from the angels was really to show everybody that the best way to create anything is by removing any kind of limitation from yourself, whatever that is. And we don't have to be so attached to everything, to every belief that we have. Beliefs can be very, very limiting. So Saturn and Uranus, what they've been doing in this trine aspect has been huge as far as freeing us from our limitations. But we have to be open to breaking free of those limitations. We have to shift our consciousness. If we don't shift our consciousness, if we don't shift within, we continue to stew in those limitations. And those are walls and barriers to anything that you're trying to manifest. So break through those limitations. Lift the veil. Allow yourself to connect with the higher energies and believe and have faith in that which you see and that which you know from those higher dimensions. Thank you so much, guys. So stay tuned for the next video where we're going to talk more about healing this wound of separation. I love you guys. Have a great new moon. Make sure to focus on your intentions so that you can manifest and create your reality with them. And it's 222 as I end this video. I love you guys, and I'll speak to you soon.